One. Welcome to the Thursday, May 26, 2022 meeting of the Woodbridge Board of Police Commissioners and Woodbridge Traffic Authority. We'll open the meeting with the Board of Police Commissioners. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Let me just take a step back before we do that. I have to do the roll call of attendance that's required by the Zoom guidelines. If you can, when I call out your name, if you can just say present. Mr. Esposito?
Present.
Mr. Cardozo?
Here. Present.
Dr. Desir?
Present.
Mr. Capel? Mr. Capel, I understand is going to be absent this evening. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the special meeting from April 11th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Desir. Is there any discussion, any corrections? I think with the three of us, we have a quorum. I know Mr. Cardozo wasn't here for that. So I'll do the roll call for the vote. You can just indicate yes, no, or recuse. Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cardozo?
I think I have to abstain, Rob.
Yes. And Dr. Desir?
Yes.
Thank you. That carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda are public comments. Chief, are there any correspondence that you or Janice received from the public that we have to address?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard at this point of this public hearing? I don't hear anyone or see anyone trying to get my attention. The next item on our agenda is the executive session. So we all received executive session links. If we can jump out of this initially. So I need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Dr. Sir, you were you muted.
I was making the motion that we move to executive session.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Cardozo. Going through the roll call, Mr. Esposito,
Yes.
Mr. Cardozo,
Yes.
Dr. Sir.
Yes.
Thank you. That carries unanimously. So if we can all join together in executive session on a separate link. It's now 8:05, returning from executive session. What I should have mentioned before we went to executive session that in addition to Commissioners Desir, Esposito, Cardozo, myself, in executive session, the board invited Chief Cappiello, Deputy Chief Smith, and our top dispatcher, Mr. Arpino. Thank you very much for your assistance. I appreciate that.
Not a problem, sir. It was a pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Thanks, Greg.
So there were no votes taken during the executive session. We interviewed several candidates for the position of dispatcher. Is there a motion that someone would like to make for a conditional offer for the position of dispatch?
So I move that we make a conditional offer to Anthony Beredeska.
I'll second that.
Actually, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will second it.
But thank you for the enthusiasm.
Thank you. But I'll second it.
The only, would you consider a modification that it's conditioned on him passing a physical?
Yes.
I would consider a modification. I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
Is there a second to that?
Yes, I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Now going through the roll call, if you can say whether you're in favor, against, or abstain. Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Cardozo,
In favor.
Dr. Desir,
Yes.
that carries unanimously. Thank you all. The next item on our agenda is the review of the reports. The first is the financial report.
Okay, so as we approach the end of the current fiscal year, we'll be wrapping up any pending purchase orders that we have and processing the related billing and actually start preparing for the new fiscal year. With just over a month remaining now, we're at about 81% overall, so we're on target to remain within budget throughout the fiscal year, and all is good on the budget side. Unless anyone has any questions specifically.
You're gonna have a surplus, Frank?
Maybe a little bit. I'd like to. We'll do our best to, as always.
Now, your fuel cost is contracted, so are you having any effect based on cost of fuel?
Not as of yet, but I know, the town negotiates a contract for next year, so I'm not sure how that'll be impacted.
No, I'll tell you what. Anything else we should know about, Frank?
No, not as far as the financial report. No.
Now,
So-
how about the overtime for dispatch is? now
Yeah,
this is-
the overtime for dispatch was way up at 130%, actually, 0.5. But that's just due to our absences and the resignation and
That was forecasted, yeah.
COVID related absences as well, some extended absences. So that's but it's kind of offset by the dispatcher salary line a little bit too. That helps to.
So we should reasonably, maybe not immediately in the next fiscal year, but at some point in the month, see that decline as we bring the new dispatchers on board.
Yeah, so once we get up to, our current full strength of 6, that we should, see an improvement. And then if we move forward with that 7th dispatcher, like is anticipated, that should really help because there's only a minimum of 1, and a lot of times we'll have 2, so it won't incur overtime when there's an absence as frequently as it does now. Absolutely. And that's it for the financial report.
Chief, just out of curiosity, in terms of what Andy mentioned as far as fuel costs are concerned, did anything go in for the next budget as relates to that? Or was it not an issue at the time?
I know for fiscal year 2023 coming up that Tony did negotiate that, and they did get the new price.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what impact all the things going on in the world it might play out now, but they did get a new price, and it did go up from the current price.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll move it.
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you. Going down the roll call, Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Cardozo,
Yes.
Dr. Seer.
yes.
Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the activity report.
They go into the activity report. I'll highlight some of the significant criminal activity that we experienced last month. We had one burglary. It was a commercial burglary at an Amity Road office complex. It occurred during the afternoon with an unlocked premise. They got inside and got into the file cabinets. That's being investigated. We had 10 different fraud cases investigated throughout last month. Some of those involve credit card misuse. There were a couple telephone scam related incidents, and there were 7 incidents involving altered or fraudulent checks. It's 4 different larceny complaints, gas siphoned out of a vehicle on Specter Road, some mailbox package theft, theft at one of the assisted living facilities, and some other missing checks from mailboxes. We had a couple larceny from motor vehicles. One of those occurred on Bishop Drive and one on Selden Street. Those were from unlocked cars. And during the month, we had 1 stolen vehicle that was taken during the overnight hours from the Bishop Drive driveway of a residence. Those vehicles was left with the keys in it. It was located several hours later, unoccupied in New Haven, with a bunch of tools and personal items missing. And just additionally, 2 recent incidents that occurred this month. I just want to bring to your attention rather than wait till our June meeting. On May 11th, around 10 p.m., we had a report of gunshots in the Rimmon Road, Oak Hill Lane area. And responding officers located a crime scene where they found, in that vicinity, they found, I think it ended up being like 12 shell casings in the street. At the same time, a neighbor in that area reported what she thought was suspicious activity in the rear of a residence. So they brought in a police canine and checked, were unable to locate anyone. So ISU has followed up on the investigation on that, and some forensic analysis is tying those shell casings into a firearm that was used in the shooting in a neighboring community as well. That occurred. And then more recently, on May 21st.
About the canine?
I'm sorry?
The canine. So we don't have canines. So we get that from neighboring. Where do we get?
We got that actually from Milford PD, responded with the canine. Yep. In that instance. And then on May 21st, the last weekend, around 2 a.m. on Litchfield Turnpike in the area of Dillon Road, they responded to a car fire, found an unoccupied car in the middle of the street that had been set ablaze. And that vehicle was later determined to have been used in a shooting in another jurisdiction as well the day before. So our detectives are currently following up with that agency on that. They've been in touch with their detectives, and our fire marshals been working with them. And actually today, I know our fire marshal and one of our detectives were joint affidavits on a search warrant pertaining to that. So they're moving forward with that. But I just wanted to give you that recent information of those things that occurred. And just moving quickly through the ISU monthly report. They assumed eight new cases during the past month. The larcenies from the mailboxes and mail theft continue. So they're working with the postal inspectors on that. And they've also assisted. We have 2 serious accidents in the last month or so. And they've been helping the reconstructionists with those. And in regards to a bomb threat that we had previously, they're working with authorities in Massachusetts. We actually went up there and assisted in a search warrant for that. It was a joint effort. I mentioned last month at our meeting. In connection with that, they're working with the authorities. They've identified a juvenile responsible for several incidents, and they're working with the court to see which jurisdiction Connecticut and Massachusetts is going to assume those investigations. They've been following through on all the background investigations for our certified police officer candidates that'll be upcoming, and also for the dispatchers that you saw earlier this evening, and the potential candidates that are being vetted as we move forward with that. And they had a DNA hit on a stolen car from Litchfield Turnpike, and they're working on that as well. And during the last month, they did a total of 14 fingerprints for public fingerprinting and for pistol permit background checks. And one of the detectives, Detective Iannucci, continues to work with our IT and doing a great job with that. He's been very busy working with the TBNG, moving us ahead with our updates there. And just following up with our 2 SROs, they're coming down in the school year and moving forward with that. They did a mock car crash at the high school last month in conjunction with the police and the fire department. And that went very well. And Beecher as well, I'll touch on when I get to my chief's report, but they're coming to the end of the year culmination. And that's all I have on the criminal side. And the deputy chief could touch base and advise you on the traffic aspect.
With regards to our motor vehicle activity in April 2022, we made 206 motor vehicle stops as compared to 31 motor vehicle stops made last April in 2021, which is an increase of 564%. With regards to traffic stop from the beginning of the year, from January 1st through April 30th, our officers have made 523 traffic stops compared to 68 traffic stops last year, which is an increase of 669%. So we're really picking it up with regards to motor vehicle activity. We've received,
I have a question about that.
yes.
Do you want me to wait till the end of the report?
Oh, you can, certainly.
So is that because people are driving again because COVID, because the world is opening back up after COVID, or is that because of different patterns of people driving, or is it something else?
You know, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's, coming out of COVID somewhat has added to that. I think we've just become more proactive, more aware of the issues that we're having, throughout town with motor vehicle complaints. We're receiving a significant amount of complaints from residents in various neighborhoods, and we're taking action by conducting speed enforcement and traffic enforcement at certain intersections. We have received complaints on Litchfield Turnpike and Baldwin Road, specifically regarding erratic driving, speeding vehicles. On Litchfield Turnpike, again, we conducted 123 radar assignments in April, making 28 motor vehicle stops. And on Baldwin Road, 34 times we went out to Baldwin Road to conduct speed enforcement, making 18 motor vehicle stops. During the month of April, we participated in the Distracted Driving Enforcement Campaign, which is sponsored by the State Department of Transportation. We participated for 7 days and we made 101 motor vehicle stops, giving out 64 infractions. In 2022, in April 2022, we had 23 motor vehicle accidents in Woodbridge, 4 on Litchfield Turnpike, 4 on Amity Road. That's where the majority of them were. From January 1st through April 30th, we've had 99 motor vehicle accidents this year, compared to 76 motor vehicle accidents last year, which is an increase of about 30%. So, we're seeing more erratic driving, we're having more accidents, more speeding vehicles, and, we've been trying to take care of it in a big way.
And just quickly, just to update you, the two major accidents we had last month, one was on the 15th. April. That occurred down at Litchfield, south of Shepherd's Farm, north of Clark Road, and that involved a car versus a bicyclist with very serious injuries there. So the accident reconstruction of that has been ongoing. And then on April 27th, about 5:45 p.m. there was a serious accident at the intersection of Johnson and Rimmon at the blinking light there, involving a motorcyclist too with very serious injuries. So both of those two accidents remain currently under investigation.
Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to approve the activity report?
What was the date of the bicycle?
Bicyclist was April 15th, about 4 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to approve the activity report?
I make a motion.
Second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? The roll call, Mr. Esposito,
Yes.
Mr. Cardozo,
Yes.
Dr. Seer.
Yes.
Thank you. Carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the report of the Chief of Police.
Okay, so my first topic is the Center Building Renovation Committee. So the first selectman recently established that committee to plan, design, construct, and finance upgrades to convert the center building into a modern police department, spaces for offices, classrooms, and programs. The scope of the project includes the entire building, including the gym, police department, human services offices and daycares. The only portion that it does not include is the senior center space that's currently being renovated now. To serve on the committee for selectmen is appointed Dwight Rowland from the Board of Finance, who will chair the committee, Paul Kuriakos from the Board of Selectmen, and then myself and Commissioner Esposito from the Police Department, Director Jeanette Glixman from Human Services, and the committee will be staffed by Janice Innocenzi. So we haven't had any meetings as of yet. So it's just newly established, and our first meeting was just scheduled today, and it'll be next week. So keep you advised of how things progress with that.
Great.
Second item was Beecher Road School SRO MOU update. So the Beecher Road Board of Ed recently requested to make some modifications to the current memorandum of understanding with the police department regarding the school resource officer. In addition to a date change and just some minor grammatical changes, the primary revision included some additional language referencing some new mandated training that has to be conducted, and also reflects some changes in the Board of Education's non-discrimination policy. The last time that document was actually updated was in 2018. It just renews itself every year unless there's some modification needed. Chairman Burke has reviewed it, and he and I both signed it just this week, and I forwarded it over to Dr. Budd, and he'll take care of the rest of the signatures with the Woodbridge Board of Ed. So that'll be all set, and we can move forward with that. Next item I want to just update you on is some ARPA funding proposals. So in conjunction with the $2.6 million in Federal American Rescue Plan Act funding awarded to the town, there's various ideas that are being proposed for use of different amounts of the funding for various town projects. So for our department, we had several projects that we plan to propose to the finance director for consideration and see if we can get them completed with that. So just to make you aware, the projects are involve the replacement of our body-worn cameras and dashboard camera systems, the replacement of our portable radios, and then also some possible replacement of some training equipment, camera system, and some advanced training courses. And just quickly, regarding our body-worn cameras, in 2012, we began using a company, Digital Ally, for that, for both our body-worn cameras and our dashboard cameras. And we were on the forefront then, but now as time has progressed, we're one of the only 4 communities throughout the state that I've heard that are using, still using that company. 9 of our 10 dashboard cameras are at end of life and no longer supported, and 5 of those have been in service since 2012. So we're having some customer service issues, and at this time we don't have a cloud-based storage or dedicated server for the camera footage. So that's another issue that's arisen. The state's attorney's office has also made notification to us that they're in the process of developing a uniform policy in which jurisdictions, agencies within their jurisdiction will be required to share camera footage via downloads directly with them at court. So that's another matter that needs to be addressed. And they advise us that Axon is the most common camera system being used in our geographical area at court. And pretty much throughout the state now, they kind of have the monopoly on that. We have a long-term relationship with Axon. That's who we use for our conducted electrical weapons, our tasers. So we've been using Axon with them for quite some time now. So to minimize, risk of failure, to cut down on repairs and replacement, and to maximize technology and remain current, we're looking to seek funding for that. We're also looking to replace our portable radios. Norcom advises us that they are 8 to 10 years old now, and they're no longer supported by warranty. We haven't had too many problems with them, but most recently we ran into a problem, and to repair the radio, they gave us an estimate of $800. And additionally, the batteries are starting not to hold the full charge, and to take out a warranty, a service warranty on the radios for all the radios that we have throughout, all the portable radios we have throughout the department. It's like $5,500 a year. So we'll talk to the finance director and be in consultation with him regarding doing that as well. And then the other thing was just some advanced training courses, as I mentioned, and possibly some other technological equipment for our training needs. The next item I had was just to update you quickly that the Amity High School graduation will be coming up. It's scheduled for June 10th, beginning at 4 p.m. Following the initial impacts of the COVID pandemic, and then followed by the renovation to the football field. Graduation hasn't been held at the school for the last couple of years, but it's returning this year to its traditional setting at the football field. In the event of inclement weather, it will be held indoors as usual. We'll have ample police staff on site and to assist with traffic and security, and working closely with the school to ensure a successful event. And with the end of the year, school year approaching, I just want to acknowledge Officer Sapione, our SRO, for his diligent efforts at the high school. And coming up for the summer, he'll be reassigned back to the patrol division. He'll bid a shift, and during that time also, he'll be providing several days of some mandated training requirements that we'll be able to fulfill for us. And then also with the culmination of the school year, the Beecher Road School Deer graduation will be held on June 3rd this year, with a virtual graduation ceremony again, as it was done for the past 2 years. So there's really no visitors to be viewed after the fact. And I just want to recognize Officer Lynch again for his completion of another successful year with the students and the staff, and all of his ongoing efforts there, especially during these challenging times. And then moving forward for the summer, in accordance with the funding and the MOU, Officer Lynch will remain at the high school throughout the summer and provide his services and security at the Woodbridge Recreation Camp Program and other school-related activities that occur there over the summer months. And that's all I have for the chief's report.
So a question is, so is Beecher, since my youngest is decades out of Beecher, is Beecher closed for the summer? Because they used to have a lot of activities there in the summertime.
No, so this year they will be open. I don't know exactly what activities, or if the activities are going to be curtailed somewhat, but they are going forward with the Woodbridge Rec Camp and other events.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to approve the report of the Chief of Police?
I'll move it.
Is there a second? Thank you.
Second.
Going down the roll call, Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Cardozo,
Yes.
and Commissioner DeSier.
Yes.
Thank you all. That carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda are personnel matters.
Hey, just an update on some extended absences. The first one will actually coincide with the question we had before regarding dispatcher coverage overtime. So we recently had one dispatcher out for several days on a COVID-related absence requiring quarantine. So that absence, coupled with us already being down one dispatcher, left us with only 4, which presented some scheduling challenges that we had to work through. But that happy to see that dispatcher has since returned, and we've moved on from that. And then we currently have one officer who has been out on the workman's comp injury since April 26th. His next doctor's visit is not until June 1st. So his absence, coupled with the vacancy that we already had, is also impacting our scheduling somewhat and our overtime. But we're hoping that he is able to return to work soon. And then just an update on our vacancies. We still have the one vacancy in patrol that we're hoping to fill. That job was posted, and we've had 10 applications to date, and some have since withdrawn for various reasons. So currently we have
Sorry.
currently we have 4 applicants in the final stages of our processing and vetting. So we're hoping that we will be able to finalize that and convene the subcommittee prior to our next meeting. And hopefully at the June meeting, we'll be able to bring some or all those candidates before the full board for consideration for hiring to fill that vacancy.
Chief, I'm sorry, I missed, what position was that for? What was that vacancy?
That was for a patrol officer vacancy. We had one officer that
Thank you.
resigned a couple months ago now and went to another
Yep,
agency,
thank you.
and that was all under personnel.
Do you know when you're expecting to bring these before the subcommittee?
No, I'll reach out to you and check on your availability if it works, but after sometime next week, I'll reach out to you with a more defined answer on that. But
Okay.
they're just wrapping up a few final things, but I think we're pretty close to being able to meet with you with the subcommittee.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda, the final item on the agenda is the budget, the annual town meeting update.
Yep, so just quickly, as you know, the annual town meeting was held on May 16th. Required the mandatory 250 residents needed for a vote. They weren't present, so the fiscal year 2023 budget passed with the recommendations that were presented by the Board of Finance at the preliminary budget hearing. So we're good to go with the budget, and we'll move forward with that starting July 1st.
Is there a motion to adjourn the police commission meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Thank you. Going through the roll call again, Mr. Esposito,
Yes.
Mr. Cardozo,
Yes.
Dr. Desir.
Yes.
Thank you all. It carries unanimously. Welcome to the Woodbridge Traffic Authority. It is 8:34 p.m. Is there any one from the public that wishes to address the Traffic Authority this evening?
No, there's not.
Chief, did you receive any correspondence that you can share with us?
No, I have none.
Is there a motion to adjourn the Traffic Authority?
I've moved that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any heated discussion? Moving to the roll call, Mr. Esposito,
Yes.
Mr. Cardozo,
Yes.
Dr. Desir.
Yes.
It carries unanimously. Thank you all for your patience. Good night. Thank you, Chief.